Welcome, everyone. I'm Aanchal Malhotra. I lead the research team at XRPX. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this interesting discussion on generative AI and blockchain. We have very esteemed panelists with us today. And we're going to dive deeper into how generative AI, which has the ability to create new content, such as text and images, has synergies with the blockchain technology that is a scalable ledger technology. But before we dive deeper into some of the things that I have in line, I believe introductions are in place. So I would like my panelists to introduce themselves. Dimitri, starting with you, and then Christian, yourself.
Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm Dimitri Restaino. I'm a solutions architect with AWS, or Amazon Web Services. So I work with customers to help them be more successful in the cloud. I've been super passionate about blockchain for mostly the last decade. And over the past 2 years, I've been working hand in hand with customers to help them implement generative AI throughout their applications. So yeah, very excited to dive into how these customers are using generative AI today.
Hello, everyone. Christian here, head of partnerships at genAI. For the last 7 years, I've had the opportunity to work on the intersection of both blockchain technology and artificial intelligence, starting with in the private equity space, starting my career there, then working at the innovation lab at Salesforce, building solutions and proof of concepts for the year 2030. And then most previously to Aanchal, I was at a company by the name of Workato, which is a leading enterprise automation company. At genAI, what we're building, we're a Web3 security and risk management firm, essentially assisting both the enterprise sector, the private sector, with compliance solutions, and on the public sector, working with local governments and municipalities in terms of tracking down illicit activity that's happening on chain.
Thank you both. To kick things off, let's hear your general thoughts on AI and blockchain, how they intersect, and the potential synergies between them. So starting with you, Dimitri, could you give us some examples of use cases where AI and blockchain are being effectively combined?
Sure. Yeah, I think that it's a very exciting time to be in tech. There's just so many use cases and projects out there, and more opportunity for projects. So I think that the first use case, everybody's kind of had their hands on it already, is just content generation. The ability to generate all kinds of assets that can be personalized in many different ways, whether it be text, images, audio, songs, art. It's just really, really powerful tool. And I think that blockchain is a really good counterweight to what's going on, where we have this real big surplus of content being generated, and where we need proof of authenticity and ownership, and the ability to tell between a real asset and something that's fake or false. Yeah, I think that's a very natural combination of the two technologies. And going further, another big use case is the ability to drive insight from the aggregation of multiple data sources. With all this content being out there, being able to query that data that's stored, in blockchains alongside other proprietary data, and really build some immersive, customized processes for these customers. It's just an incredibly powerful synergy between the two technologies.
Awesome, great, thank you. Christian, you've been building at Aanchal at the intersection of AI and blockchain. Could you share your experience there, and how do you think this combination can help this ecosystem?
Yep, definitely. I guess I would like to start off with sort of the latter aspect of that question, right? Which is, what does that look like, blockchain and AI merging together? I guess by a show of hands, who here is developing anything on the blockchain today? I would assume everyone here, right? And I guess my follow-up question would be, how many of you have used AI tools like ChatGPT? So that's exactly where I see sort of the emergence of AI, right? As a blockchain community, I would encourage all of us to sort of lead the adoption in using AI tools like ChatGPT, like the large language models that are being built, the different machine learning models or automation tools that we have today. And that's exactly what we're doing at Aanchal AI, right? So we're leveraging sort of the latest innovation of AI, adopting it, and continuing to build the solutions into our product suite. So one of the examples that we have is, as a blockchain analytics and investigation solution, a lot of the legacy work or the legacy companies that we're essentially innovating upon is they've used tools to manually investigate blockchain transactions. This can be for like during hacking events, during events of illicit activity, where analysts are essentially investigating what's happening on chain. We've built AI tools leveraging technologies like machine learning, where we can actually expedite that specific workflow and build efficiencies. And essentially where that leads is one of the biggest sort of advances of AI, which is creating workflow efficiencies, automation, right? So that's essentially what we're doing. We're bringing innovation or efficiencies to these analysts, while at the same time reducing the amount of work and the speed to get the job done.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Christian. Dimitri, at AWS, you're working on code generation. Can you share more about this concept and how it can enhance blockchain development, particularly in security and infrastructure?
Yeah, sure. So first, I just want to kind of talk through two services in this space. So the first is Amazon Bedrock, which we have on AWS, which allows you to serverlessly run inference against some of the leading foundation models from Anthropic, Meta, Cohere, all just using an API, and you can change the model just as easy as changing a parameter on the API call. So it's a really powerful tool. That's more on the running inference side. On the code generation side, we have a product called Amazon Q Developer, which is our coding assistant, similar to GitHub Copilot. Really just a application that will help generate code suggestions, can help scan for security vulnerabilities, can even help generate unit tests, which is really great. So there's a lot of really cool uses of it, and I kind of want to break that apart into applications which are surrounding blockchain, then your actual like blockchain logic, which is your smart contracts and your dApps, and then lastly, a cool category is infrastructure as code. So first with applications, this is a knockout use case, where you're gonna have peer reviews, you have a rollback process. So it's great to be able to generate code and use suggestions and integrate with SDKs and learn patterns. I've been using it myself in my projects. Really helps me just kind of envision what I'm looking to build. But as you move towards smart contracts and dApps and things where the code is going to be public and you're dealing with real life consequences, where like if there is a security vulnerability, that's going to be exploited, and you don't want that. So we're hesitant to recommend relying too heavily on code generation in that space. But it is something that you could use in a pointed way to scan for security vulnerabilities, but you don't want that to be the only thing you rely on, where you definitely want to always have a human in the loop. The last category that I mentioned is infrastructure as code. So that's a big thing on cloud providers like AWS, where you want to have your infrastructure in a standardized format. This coding assistant has been trained on all of our documentation, all of our SDKs, and it allows for you to basically say what you're looking to build infrastructure-wise, and it can help you spin up the right resources and manage the networking and make sure that it's secure together. Again, you always want that human in the loop, at least where the technology is currently. You want to be reviewing all of this stuff for security best practices, but it is a really, really strong tool to get you started in the space.
Awesome. I guess there is potential, but there are challenges there that we still need to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, as we're a year or two into this, hitting the mainstream, I can only imagine where we're going to be in a few years from now. Yeah.
Great. Coming to you, Christian, your work focuses on risk management and transaction tracking using AI. I'm really interested. Can you provide some examples how this application is improving regulatory compliance and security in the blockchain space?
Yep, definitely. So we've been part of many of these conversations and invited to share our insights at events like the latest FATF meeting that happened in Paris. I believe that was last month. From that sort of from the compliance and regulatory aspect, right? Bringing sort of our insights into how we're leveraging AI to detect illicit activity before it happens, while it's happening, or even after it has happened. These sort of activity events can be like, terrorist financing in the most recent Israeli and Palestinian conflict, and detecting sort of those transactions that are taking place. We've also used our AI models during Chris Larson's hack that happened recently. We were also bringing forward analytics and sort of mapping the transactions between Alameda Research and FTX. We actually like to believe that we're the whistleblower, if not one of the whistleblowers, to bring sort of that insight forward to Bloomberg. So that's how we've been sort of leveraging our AI models from the compliance and regulatory side of things, while at the same time training government officials, more specifically in the US, which is where our company is based out of. So today we're working with some of the largest sort of agencies that are having a stake in the digital asset space. Many of these sort of three-letter agencies are a little bit controversial at times, but our work is mostly around educating the staff member on the latest innovation, what is happening, and at the very least getting a fundamental understanding of what is AI, what is blockchain, and what are sort of the practical solutions that are helping bring efficiencies to our financial markets, if not all subsequent markets that we're building on top of.
That's great. And do you think they are receptive to AI technology? Are they skeptical about things?
Definitely.
Do you have anything there to share?
I like to believe that within these agencies, there are some of the brightest people out there that are pushing the agenda forward for, from a government perspective, to adopt this technology, and as well as to fund the technology, the development of this technology. We're seeing it from, I guess, the presidential agenda today in the U.S., where we're essentially funding the onshore development of these semiconductor companies, right? And I think that's really where it starts, from that supply chain angle of allowing for the development or the continuous development of genAI and as well as blockchain, right? Node infrastructure, et cetera.
Great, thanks for that, Christian. Dimitri, coming to you, what are some of the key ways that you think developers and organizations can differentiate their GenAI applications in the blockchain space, specifically how they can ensure their AI-powered solutions stand out and provide unique value compared to other offerings in the market?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great topic. So the key is really all around the data that you have when it comes to generative AI, which is going to differentiate you from other generative AI applications out there. So it's really how can you derive this data and add this data to your application, and there's many ways you can do that. You might have that proprietary data within your company or your organization. You might partner with another company to purchase that data, or maybe it's blockchain data, you're able to manipulate it in some way and pull value out of it, which is going to help enrich the answers and the product that you're able to provide to your customers using generative AI. So I think that's really going to be key for any developers to try to differentiate themselves in the space. Is just going to be making sure that they have data which is going to be valuable to their customers and provide that personalized, immersive experience.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think data is the USP. You do not want crap in, crap out.
Yeah.
Okay, Christian, do you have any follow-up thoughts on that?
On sort of
the USP, how can you differentiate? How can developers and organizations differentiate between other like their product and other products in the market?
Yeah, I guess just when it comes to like AI development, right? The first sort of topic is to look internally into your operational workflows and what can essentially be automated using AI, essentially alleviating time to build more creative sort of aspects of the business. And that's essentially where I would sort of encourage sort of any developer to differentiate themselves from that of the competition, right? Sort of, I think we're at a pivotal moment where automation is a must in any sort of company. That is sort of where the idea of like Sam Altman of saying, in the future we're going to have a $1 billion company led by just one CEO. And it's the idea of leveraging automation to even getting that done. So if we can automate as many aspects as we can of a business, then that allows us to sort of, lead the vision forward through different sort of creative aspects. So I guess I would start there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sam Altman's statement is too far in the future.
Right.
I would be interested in listening to, we have a lot of challenges in this space, as we touched upon. Ethical considerations are, I think, critical in both AI and blockchain space. So both of you, Christian and Dimitri, can you discuss some of the ethical challenges that you encounter in your work, and how do you address them? Starting with you, Dimitri.
Sure. So yeah, ethics is a huge topic, and I think so. One of the key considerations that we deal with is with bias within the models, and so these models, they've been trained on loads of historic data, and it's sometimes hard to identify underlying bias and discrimination, whether it's race or gender or a whole number of different things. So, I know that at Amazon, that's something that we've heavily considered when building our models. We have our Titan line of models, but also with the partners, the model providers that we partner with, like Anthropic, I know that that's a big part of their mission statement. Yeah, I think that as time goes on, we're gonna see how that evolves. Also, just the opaqueness of these models at this point, we really have trouble with the transparency, and I think that I'm hopeful that blockchain comes in a big way there to help with the transparency, because these models are starting to make some real life decisions that impact people. Whether you're looking to get a loan or looking to buy a house or things like this. There's a model behind the scenes. So just understanding that better, and we're going to see how this evolves over the next few years.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point on transparency. I guess if you think about DeFi space, where the reasoning behind why a certain decision was made is really a regulatory concern to ensure fair markets, using AI in that space is really a challenge. Totally agree. Christian?
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest challenges that we're seeing is in a world where data is becoming infinite, and trillions of sort of data points are being sort of built out every single day, right? Where every single day, new pieces of information is coming out. Staying up to date and keeping up with the pace of the creation of data, and then feeding that to our AI models is one of the biggest challenges that I'm seeing, or that our team is seeing. We're also at the forefront of faster sort of infrastructure to process this data, but the process of cleaning the data, validating the data, authenticating the data continues to become more and more difficult. Not only that, but as we start to sort of analyze, let's say, for example, the XRP Ledger, but now with the creation of bridges to different sort of chains, processing that data as well, looking into other chains, and sort of analyzing when an asset starts on the XRP Ledger, but it moves to a different network. That's sort of becoming one of the, I guess, the hiccups in the space that we're dealing with today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, data is definitely the key, but at the same time, that is the thing that has the potential to create most biases as well, and that's, I guess, a challenge that we need to solve for. Okay, so I guess before we wrap up, I'd like to hear your closing thoughts. Thanks for sharing your insights, but Dimitri, starting with you, and then Christian, what are you most excited about in terms of future developments in this space? We all have a lot of things. We talk about a lot of things at conceptual level, but what are some of the things that you think are really going to happen?
Yeah, like I said before, we're really just at the forefront of this. So incredibly excited to see what's to come. I think that there's going to be a big opportunity for the machine learning community to borrow some of the concepts from blockchain, crypto, and Web3. One of those examples is the zero knowledge principles, and applying that right now. There's a discipline within machine learning, ZKML. Which is working on the ability to use these models in a more private and secure way, and I think that that's just going to be incredibly powerful, and something to look forward to in the future. I think that all requires a ton of compute and processing and all this stuff that maybe we're not there to run these full-time projects on, but eventually that could be something, and I'm really just excited to see what everybody's building out there. Walking around, you hear some incredible conversations and projects that are combining these technologies and combining even more technologies. So it's an awesome space. There's so much going on. So yeah, there's a ton to be excited about.
Great, thank you. Christian?
A couple things. The biggest one is sort of leveraging AI agents as helpers, and essentially allowing us to sort of just create more workflow efficiencies throughout our day-to-day lives. And and sort of leveraging blockchain technology to authenticate those transactions, to authenticate sort of everything that we're doing from a data perspective. Now, taking sort of like my Aanchal hat off in terms of what I'm most excited about with the future of generative AI in the blockchain space is teaching sort of large language models the ethos that we're hoping to build within the blockchain community or that of the Web3 community. Sort of bringing sort of not just the technological aspect, which of course that's what's getting solved, but also the aspect of decentralization, bringing those sort of thought-provoking conversations and feeding that to the AI models. And Web3 culture, the building of NFTs, of global communities, et cetera. That's what I'm really, really excited about, of the future development of what that looks like, and also the cleansing of historical data, that when we look back at history books and see like, wow, this really happened, we really had slaves, for example, and teaching sort of large language models of, let's not go down that path again, right? If we're going to go build, let's say, for example, a multi-planetary species, right? So how do we teach a large language model to start building for that and start having conversations on what that future looks like? So that's really what I'm most excited about, and also, again, encouraging the blockchain community to be sort of the first movers in AI adoption. So, really sort of dive deep into like the AI models that some of these conglomerates are building, and then bringing our sort of blockchain perspective into those models.
Great. Thank you both for sharing your insights. It definitely seems that there is a huge potential at the intersection of these two technologies, but at the same time, we have a long way to go. There are a lot of challenges that we need to deal with. But thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Hope you have a great rest of your conference.